Hello and welcome back to Vintage Treasures. And today I thought we'd look at this 1988 Play School Who Framed Roger Rabbit plush pull string toy. I picked this up recently at a thrift store for $2, and I've done a couple things which I'll tell you about. Just to spruce him up a bit. Some problems I have with him, and some problems you might have with yours if you have one, or you might be here because you're in the market to find one and you want to know any issues. Uh, Anyways, this would be a good resource for you to figure out exactly what it's supposed to look like. Mine's obviously not mint. I mean, it's okay, but I just wanted to show some common issues and the features of this toy. For a toy released in 1988, it's really not that bad. The colors are nice, they hold up pretty well, and yeah, there's not much on here that could really get sun faded because it's mostly fabric, except for his eyes. They probably get tinted yellow. They are a nice sky blue color, and they have these little the pupils printed on there, which mine are in relatively good condition. Mine are a bit off, they're like skewed wrong, so like one of them's above the other. You can see that right there. So yeah, and then he has a stitching for his mouth, you can see here, and his nose. His nose is something I want to bring up because it's let me put this up to the mic real quick. If you could hear that, it's actually plastic. So this is a piece of plastic that has been flocked, and as you likely know, plastic doesn't fare too well when it's flocked. And this could rub, so do keep an eye out for that. And don't clean flocking. Dust it maybe, but if you get the sweat, it will come off because the glue or the adhesive does not hold up. He also has this tie, which has seen better days, but is not too bad. I mean, the middle bit is a bit scuffed. It's a bit scuffed in the middle. Right there, you can see the yellow dot in the middle. It's a bit scuffed, and he has a little scuff up here, but relatively good condition. Maybe something you want to keep an eye out for is fraying on the ends because this fabric. And if you do have fraying on the ends of your toys, just take a lighter to it, of course, carefully, because you don't want to set the whole thing on fire, and just, run it fast a little bit. It'll burn the little strings on the end and leave it looking like a fresh cut. Another problem I want to bring up is that he's almost completely white, minus his overalls and bow tie and his nose and all that. And that could be an issue. That, of course, being an issue because he's a toy, and kids don't take care of things that are white. They get dirty very easily, especially when it's a plush, and the fabric doesn't fare too well with dirt, dust, or grime, or food. So I've had a couple of issues on mine. I had a stain on the back of mine. I don't think I can find it anymore. It does clean up pretty well, depending on the stain. Unless it's like a wet thing that got on his fur, then you might be screwed. But if it's just like dust, you might be able to wipe it off. And that's what's happened with a good amount of the stuff that you can see on his foot there. We have a couple of dots of brown. So I don't know if that'll come out. And then we have one on his arm right there, which is probably a wet spill of sorts. And that's probably not going to come out. But of course, the most common issue being with this vintage pull string that's over 30 years old is the pull string. If you don't know what a pull string is, it's a string wound up. It's basically a music box, and when you pull it, it plays the tiny little music box and it says phrases. And well, over time, it starts to sound like this. Let me play this near the mic. Or it'll just stop working. But if I pull that a bit slower, he said, I know it's raining cats and dogs, because I just stepped on a poodle, which is a joke, obviously. I do forget if you saw that in the movie, probably. Let's hear another one. That was the same one. Sometimes it'll replay it again and again. Here's a magic trick. I'll pull a magician out of my hat. I think there's one more. I think he said. I just flew in and boy am I on fire, which I don't get that one. There's that replaying I was talked about. That was the same one, played at regular speed. And, well, it played that about 4 or 5 times, so you see what I mean. The voice boxes are not very advanced technology. A step in the right direction, and definitely led to a lot of the modern toy things, like robotics that we put in toys nowadays. Definitely more advanced, and they're going to hold up in the next 30 or 40 years. But still, you got all the vintage toys. And another thing I wanted to mention is his arms. This could be a universal problem on like all plushes, but you see I have a bend here, and that's not going to come out unless I like fiddle with this fluff, the fluff inside, and that might even make it worse. So I don't think I'll mess with that. But that's really any stuffed animal. The stuffing just eventually gets matted, I guess. Another thing, as I mentioned, he has a twine on his face here and on his eyebrows. I forgot to mention that. He has tiny little eyebrows up there, which I barely even knew they were there. He has 2 little ones on his toes to, represent the 3 toes, I guess. And on his gloves, he has the 3 little lines, like old cartoons, because, well, that's what he's meant to be, a cartoon character. So, yeah, so these can snap or wear down, and I actually had a couple issues. If you go back, I'll link a video at the end for you to watch if you want to. It was pretty bad on his gloves. There's issues on both the gloves. I think this one had a bit sticking off, which wasn't too bad. You just trim it after the knot, so it still holds. But this one was completely, like, the whole thing was out. I had to, like, go in and, like, push it in little by little, inching it. It took, I want to say 10 minutes. I wasn't really keeping track because it was such a tedious process, but it definitely paid out in the end, and something I would do again if I had to. Another problem would be, people trimming his fur, or too much fur loss in his hair. When I'm looking at the back of him, he has a patch where his tail is, and the cottontail, which, he's a rabbit. There's red overalls, and there's that pull string. So if you're curious if you have the original pull string or not, this is, as far as I know, is what I've seen. This is the original pull string, and yeah, that's the original pull string. That's what it looks like. It's a bit weird to grab. Probably supposed to grab it like this, maybe. I'm not sure. And then we have the overalls, which attach here and here, and in the front behind these buttons. They attach. Speaking of these buttons, these do get a bit grimy. You might have to take the pills off of them, which are what those little clumps of fabric are called pills. But overall, pretty cool toy, a lovely display piece, and he's worth a bit. He's worth about $30, $40, but I will not be selling mine because I like it. I mean, I liked it enough to make a whole video on it. So if you enjoyed the video, please like it. I'd appreciate it. If you have any questions about him, you're looking to purchase him or repurchase him or something, just talk in the comments. I can reply to you and let you know whatever you need to know about him. And yeah, subscribe to the channel if you like vintage toys, of course. It's what I post on this channel, exclusively vintage toys every Wednesday. So if you're interested in that type of stuff, consider subscribing to the channel. At 50 subscribers, I plan on doing a room tour, which hopefully you guys will enjoy. The reason I'm waiting to do that is because it's a lot of tedious work, a lot of editing, a lot of filming. It's a long video, and I just like to have a good amount of people there to watch it when it comes out. But yeah, have a great rest of your day or night, and goodbye.